G'day and welcome to Reliability Hero, where we talk with maintenance and reliability people. Few things excite them more than making machines and equipment do more than they were ever designed to do. Faster, safer, longer, and more reliably. Whether you take minerals out of the ground, keep power plants running, or fix and maintain rail networks, aeroplanes, conveyor belts, or turbines, we acknowledge you for keeping economies moving. I'm Andrew Daddo, and this podcast is brought to you by the mainstream community. We're talking to David Kelly. He's the manager of QE Business Tech and Enablement at Qantas, and you've been there for 35 years. You don't get that.
Yes, that's correct.
You've seen an extraordinary amount of change in that time.
So, yes and no in this story. Engineering, it changes quite slowly. The aircraft are there, but I've been from delivery of new aircraft to aircraft that are just about to retire. So it's actually quite interesting seeing the evolution of that aircraft and that time in the business. I've been very lucky to actually work in that business for such a long time, and I still really enjoy avionics and aircraft engineering. Not that I ever wanted to be a pilot.
Where are you trained? Are you an engineer?
Yeah, so I did my first aviation training in the Air Force. So I did 6 years Air Force. So I was avionics or instrument fitting way back then.
Yeah.
And then actually I left that and we went travelling around the world surfing for 2 years.
Great.
And
sorry, just quickly, where was the best wave?
So we went up through Indonesia, all the way through up to Nias. So many years ago it was Nias, when it was 20 cents a night accommodation.
Right.
Then it kicked over to $2 a night accommodation.
Oh, you said too much.
Well, it was...
Cost of living crisis.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
I'm a surfer.
Well, it was 6 days to get there.
Yeah, okay.
I'd snapped the board, all that stuff. But yeah, so quite interesting. It was quite a long time ago. Actually, if you remember the old Coca-Cola ads, there was many years ago, there was Luke Egan surfing backhand. Fantastic waves. That was it. Little huts on the beach.
Yeah.
So then from there, we went across to the States and we were living and working in the States. And then I came back and I met a guy back in Bali on the way back, and he was a flight attendant. So he was flying. Qantas used to fly 3 times a week to Bali, and I've just got, this is what I want to do.
Right.
So
you could surf?
So I could surf. So have a surfboard up there, get a motorbike up there. So I thought, want to be a flight attendant. So I ended up went back, interviewed 3 times for a job as a flight attendant, and now I'm an engineer. I didn't get the job as a flight attendant.
Yeah, right. It's funny, isn't it? Sort of a sliding doors thing. It's obviously worked out. Well, I'm assuming better.
I think so.
Right.
You know.
David, I want to read the beginning of a list of the people that you deal with, report to, report for, have associations with, that you've sent as a part of the research for this interview. Only because it's like an extraordinary list, and then I would like you to explain how it all works.
Okay.
So you work closely with the executive manager of Qantas Engineering, QE business leaders, senior IT managers, the engineering business, the IT teams, third-party providers, systems teams. There's the head of integrated operations centre, fleet engineering, flight operations, technical pilots, customer experience, cabin crew management, P145 accountable and responsible managers, original equipment manufacturers, Boeing and Airbus, and that's the first half of the list. So how do you sleep at night? What does it mean?
It means that I've been in a fortunate position to the role that I'm now in is actually interacting with all these people. So if I try and sort of unpack what the idea of my role was, years ago I was a hands-on technician. I then moved across into a supporting role in what we called the maintenance watch. So that was an area that supports aircraft in flight, monitoring them. Then the people at offshore ports, if they've got any problems, they call back to us. So you became an information booth. As we evolved in that area, I started looking after all the systems that look at aircraft health in flight. So the technology and all the systems we have in Qantas, I basically brought in that area.
Okay.
So it was sort of a passion. I then transferred across and we do other projects. So the reason I'm in this funny position in the middle is I've got the experience from that build, but then we need to interact with all those other people to do the next thing. So at the moment we're building electronic logbook, for example. So that works
an
on...
electronic logbook.
An electronic logbook. Aircraft still majority around the world are paper.
So does that surprise you?
It's very simple, it's very fast, it's very cheap.
Okay, so which is the most important?
Really, a lot of the time it was the simplicity around it. It was very difficult for maintenance information systems to be used by other contract people. So airlines tend to have their own people in a couple of the major ports that they fly to, and then they use another airline in those other ports. So the world's evolving in maintenance information systems, but back when all that started, it was everyone worked on paper. Okay. So we've evolved, and we're evolving a lot faster.
So is that paper logbook sort of working the same way that a medical chart might work, that hangs on the bottom of the bed? So you can literally look at it and very quickly and say, right, this is what's been administered, this is what we think there's a problem here, and so very quickly you can get an overview.
Yeah, it's a very, very good analogy in that space. So you would have all your proper medical records sitting inside somewhere else. That would be the maintenance information system. That has all the tasks which are due in the system, the clock. We need to change something at X amount of time. But the aircraft, when it has defects, observations, quick servicing checks, that goes into the logbook system. So then the pilot can see it all, and basically there's a signature at the bottom of every check, which is the release to service, which is like ticking off that patient. I've done the obs for the day. That person's good. Well, this is the aircraft.
Weirdly, that makes me think about the toilet cleaning signatures.
Yes, we have everything. We have everything. But you got to remember, an aircraft is a city in the sky.
Yeah,
it is pretty funny around that way, and we do have a full waste system. You've got a toilet system. You've got all of that sort of things. Water system, and they're all separate, all managed. Bizarrely on the 787, we know how many times the toilet's flushed.
Do you?
Yeah, we don't use that information for anything, but
sure.
It's actually recorded
so
somewhere.
Then can you explain why some people spend hours in there? I mean, especially
no, I can't.
2 hours out from landing and saying, "Now, come on, get out."
I think they're brushing their teeth and making themselves look pretty.
I think you're right.
That's right.
COVID had a massive impact on Qantas and the business, and first in the fact that of people not flying, and then people flying again, and things shutting down and then having to be started up. How was that from your perspective?
I was, if we look back at it, I was in a fortunate position to understand it. It was a horrible situation for us. I was in a small project team that was COVID parking, what we were doing. So it was
COVID parking.
Well, yeah. So basically, initially we had a bit of as we were starting to understand the world, we had a feeling that we might be 25% less aircraft needed. So where will we park those aircraft? What happens if it was 50%? So we had maps up on the wall about 10%, 25, 50 and 75. And then I got a call on a Saturday night at a party, said you need to come into work tomorrow, we think this is escalating. We come in and we think it's 50% in the morning, and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was 100% international flights down. What do we do?
Right.
So you've gone, all of the international aircraft have to be parked. So how we strategized where we could put them.
Where were they parked?
So
all over the world?
No, mostly back in Australia. We had some aircraft in Los Angeles, and majority were in Australia, and we just really struggled about what space. So we had near maps out, and we were then measuring the size of a wingspan and trying to overlay that in all these airports.
Okay.
The problem was getting engineers there. That was the other part. So
because the plane has to be shut, it has to be decommissioned, doesn't it?
Effectively, there was a real
hold it in the garage and go, I'll start that up in a couple of months.
Well, there was a massive disconnect from people that thought it'd be like a hire car. Throw the keys on the counter and walk away from it. Well, in actual fact,
who thought that? The pilots?
Not the pilots. I think there was some of the senior management said, no, just shut them down, park them. Don't use the asset. Because lots of different strategies around the world at that time about what is the right thing. You remember people doing ghost flights and all this sort of stuff. So the aircraft had to be started every week or every month, depending on how the maintenance strategy you used. So we initially thought, okay, we'll try and fly the 787s, park the 330s, but ultimately we ran out of pilots and had to swap that strategy out because they were doing COVID flights once a week or so to actually get medical equipment. The 737s, we went down to 5% flying across country. So we had Western Australia had 14 aircraft, or updating. We had 1 or 2 aircraft on the East Coast available. And then we had to swap them out because we needed maintenance. All the rest, we had Avalon. I don't know if you ever saw pictures of Avalon. There was like 40 aircraft parked at Avalon. So the whole taxiway was taken up. And you have to wrap all these aircraft up. You have to then put in inhibiting fluids in the engines. You had all of these maintenance programs that we really struggled with because we didn't have enough black plastic. We didn't have engine covers for all of these aircraft, so things had to be manufactured. So we were trying to...
At a time when manufacturing was...
You couldn't
cactus.
buy stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
So even the inhibiting rig, so we had 6 737s in Adelaide. We couldn't get the inhibiting rig to Adelaide because there was no transport. Right. So our normal transport would be flying. You then put it on trucks. But everyone wants to use the trucks.
Not allowed to go through Victoria, mate.
Exactly. So
right.
One of the things that we spoke about early in the piece was everyone goes, I'll put them in Alice Springs. We couldn't get engineers to Alice Springs. That was one of the problems. So your engineers had to travel.
You might not know the answer to this. So Qantas had it was a damaging time for Qantas reputationally for various reasons, but how damaging was the fact that it was so difficult to get work done on the planes, and then the coming out of COVID? When you explain it this way, and that you couldn't get the engineers, you couldn't get the black plastic, you couldn't get the engine covers, you couldn't get all these things, and then when the world slowly came back back together. But you guys struggled reputationally because it wasn't working the way we expected it to work.
Yeah, there was a couple of bits in there. There's always many parts of the story. So we were trying to work about the recovery. So when do our borders anticipate they're open? So we would then have to try and match what the perceived growth was to then say how many aircraft we could bring back. And so you're talking about hundreds of hours of maintenance, so say 400 hours on a 737 to get it back to life. So we don't have enough people to dedicate to that as well as the other maintenance, and we had reduced staff. So there was also the whole cost pressure in Qantas too. There's lots of people stood down. If you remember back, 380 pilots driving buses, cabin crew not existing, engineering, there's a lot of engineering went out and did 6 months in other companies, different things like that. And we actually lost a lot of people that actually took redundancy.
Yeah.
And that was not just us, a lot of airlines.
Yeah.
Same thing. And, it's very difficult to recover.
And so for you in the middle of it,
yeah,
you're thinking about the day when they said you're at a party, they said, you're going to have to come in tomorrow. Was the whole time a difficult...
It was frantic.
Yeah.
It was so frantic. I was like, we work in 7 days. I've got a picture of my back lawn and this... And I think it was like 6 weeks that we basically didn't stop. We were already supposed to be on part-time work straight away as they were in cost recovery. Lots of the other parts of the business had already been said, go home, there's no work for you at this point in time, where we're still trying to then go, what do we need to do? And Boeing and Airbus were changing the rule set about what you had to do. Because most of the time it was when they're designed to say, wrap something up and protect it, was like 1 aircraft to 2 aircraft, not a fleet, not a world fleet. So all of a sudden there's all these things that they're learning, and every month there'd be another conference call with people going, oh, you need to do this extra work and all this extra work. And you're sitting there going, we're chasing our tails here. It just seems phenomenal. And we had aircraft that were brand new reconfiguration, so nice new interior, first class interior, everything. They went straight from where we had the work done straight to get wrapped up in the desert, things like that.
Right.
And you also had the uncertainty of how long this is going to go for, which was that big challenge. Other parts of the world were starting up, but Australia didn't start up, and it didn't start up internally, domestically for so long.
Okay. So now that things are back normal, we'd say they're pretty normal now.
Yeah.
How has aviation tech changed? And the maintenance of aviation technology?
I think the technology hasn't changed. We just got put back a couple of years from where we were. So we were building up and had some really exciting things going on as we just came into 2020. We were collaborating. We had some big data initiatives going on, without trying to use the big data word, but we had some stuff. We were sharing data. It was all momentum, and we haven't recovered back from there. We've done bits of it, but the 3 years, 4 years in that time, we actually lost a lot of momentum in technology, which is disappointing.
Okay. One of the themes for mainstream this year is that changing the the narrative to senior management from saying the data and making it more of a personal experience, so we need to change things because of these reasons and tell the human story, as opposed to just saying that here's the data, you need to spend the money. Is that a factor for you guys? And is that part of that big, I know you don't like the term, but the big data change? And that loss of momentum?
I think it's the availability of cash within the business and where you can put it becomes one of the challenges.
Okay.
So a lot of businesses got tech debt over that period of time. So, okay, we don't have any money to spend on anything at the moment. We don't need it. We come back to life, and now we've got to replace. You win 10 computers, you win 7 computers, you've got to replace the servers. So all of a sudden you go, there's only so much cash in a business. It's a standard budget. Budgetary constraint problem that everyone has it in their own household. There's only so much that comes in.
Cost of living crisis.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. But that changes your outlook, and airlines and everyone have always got forward projection about what they think the business is, and that then changes how your spending profiles. If you're at home and you think you're going to get a bonus or something, you'll probably spend differently. So at the moment there's a lot of need to do. That means that a lot of the big projects we have to try and incrementally do. Okay. Which is okay. You build them organically. It just becomes a tough fight some days.
Does it change for you personally that, like, in terms of there are jobs to do? Is it a matter of literally, and all those people I mentioned at the beginning that you interact with, is it literally a matter of just getting through the jobs to do, as opposed to like the big picture? Like, I spoke to a guy from BHP and he's talking about the dream. He's dreaming about the dream of what it can be and how to chasing the dream, or are you chipping away?
I was going to say, I haven't given up on the dream, but there's reality that sets in.
Yeah.
And there's bits I know that we can do better. But it's funny enough, we were talking about it last week with the engineering finance guy, and it's like sometimes the poor person pays twice. They can't actually get out of and buy the thing that saves them money, so you have to incrementally pay a little bit more all the time to do it. And at the moment, I think that's where we are in some of this process. So I go, what are the things that we can do now and make sure they're okay, and not trying to worry about the big dream of all the massive data solutions and bringing it all together, because it's just very hard to do. Okay. And the other bizarre thing is when you actually do some incremental work, the reward from the incremental work to the top is now reduced. So it makes it that much harder for business cases to work. Sometimes you're better off not doing it all. It's really weird.
Right.
It becomes your own detriment.
Until it happens, do you?
Yeah, but
you never enter anything going, I've got a great. Why don't we do this?
Yeah.
It's the shiny things, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I got to
we try and stay. My job is to find shiny things as well.
Okay.
But I'm actually very good at going, you don't need to have the shiny things. A practical use of technology is where I position and things I talk about. We did a trial with HoloLens one time. Really interesting. So we had the whole 380 aircraft set up, but we had a small little panel with dints. When we were doing then, you could bring the document in and look at the document. You could scan it. And HoloLens too, you move your eye lights.
Sorry, what's a HoloLens?
It was a Microsoft headset that was augmented reality. Fantastic concept in engineering. Sorry, is
that like an AI? No, like a virtual reality.
Yeah, so you have AI and VR and AR.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So augmented reality, it's not completely fiction, but it's helping stuff. So you could you walk around the whole 380 in this illusions, and then you'd have documents you could bring in. I said the HoloLens too. You move your eyes.
So you're Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you read.
Right.
Yeah. You move your hands. I'm moving my hands in this podcast.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it was brilliant. They had 6 birds in one of the things. Sorry, going off tangent here. But as you look at the light or the little jewel, it would spin. And as soon as you looked at it away, it would stop and the next one would go. So you're trying to trick it as you're trying to go like this to watch it. It was phenomenal. And that was following where your eyes are looking in this lens. So it would then have a document you could scan and it would read the document. And depending how far you look down, how quick the document would go. So anyway, that had then support. So we'd have someone sitting in the operations centre on a Teams call that you could then interact with the person out on the aircraft. So you look at it and go, this is really good. What a fantastic idea. It's not practical. Where do you put them? How do you train people? How do you keep them charged? It's a little bit like
Give me my medical chart.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we looked at drones and this sort of stuff. Everyone's
Yeah.
going, use drones. Drones around an airport are vetoed. Yeah, the time you really want them a lot of time is when you've had a lightning strike. Well, the aircraft's already wet. You know, you're in a storm, so you need to inspect the aircraft if you go through lightning for where you might have burn holes and things. So it doesn't necessarily work. People forget those extra little technologies around. We once had a caterpillar that came out of New Zealand. So it was designed
An actual caterpillar.
Well,
A robot.
they call it's a little robot.
Yeah.
It was designed to go in grain tanks and inspect the inside of grain tanks. So it was vacuum and it would climb up the wall of the vacuum tanks. So these New Zealand guys had it. So they came out and we did it on 380 one time. High resolution camera, it's phenomenal.
But to look where? On the outside of the
So it
plane?
would look on the outside. So instead of someone getting a cherry picker, getting up, because the top of the 380 is pretty high, you're sitting in a little cherry picker in a bit of wind and it moves around, you just don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So anything that brings safety and stuff in. So we were looking, could we use this little caterpillar? It would go up and then do the scan. You know, so different technology. Didn't work, but you have a look at this stuff, but you don't have to get drawn in by the bright, shiny things.
Okay.
You know,
So
I'm sensible.
Right. Well,
Hard to believe.
no. Look, I mean, I think it's hard to understand what you would like. There's so much available, so much at stake. Like there's so much at stake.
Yeah.
But lives being the biggest thing. That to even get the wrong shiny thing could be, and the safety record of Qantas is so.
Yeah, look, it's phenomenal, and there's a lot about. You've got the basis of foundation, which is the aircraft design people.
Yeah.
You've then got all of the reliability systems you have with the regulations, and then you've the inherent stuff that Qantas has built in Qantas engineering, and the proud history it has in that space.
Yeah.
So they're all base layers that protect, and that's what we enhance and work to, And we have really qualified, highly trained people, pilots, engineers, cabin crew in that space, protecting it. The new shiny things aren't affecting that. What they are is assisting people doing their work.
Yeah.
So you've got more time to do stuff. That's the sort of thing. Simplify it. And other things we're trying to do is actually make it safer for people when they're doing a task. People open the doors, they're up elevated, you've got catering going in and out. People actually wear harnesses to go from one to the other because I'll say they're a rickety bridge, but it can be dangerous. Things can fall, and fall from heights is something we're really worried about.
Yeah. So 35 years, you're still surfing?
No, unfortunately.
Oh.
Someone asked me, is there anything, you can't do? And I was going, I can't surf anymore.
Right.
I live in Bondi, and I don't know, I lost the will to fight in Bondi.
Yeah, I understand
fight for the
why.
waves,
Yeah.
I grew up in Merewether many years ago, which is a fantastic surfing spot, and Mark Richards and all the...
Yeah.
Actually, site Aviation, so Merewether Surfboard Club, 60 years it's been going.
Wow.
I got a jacket.
Yeah.
The other day sent down. Yeah, so no, that's so I grew up surfing in that in cadets many years ago, but Bondi, it's just a hard place.
Right. Well, at the very least, have you got your lawn back in shape?
Yes, that's right. Got an electric lawnmower. That's right. Do that
that's
now.
a
Yes.
shiny thing. You can have a shiny thing at
Come
home.
on, it's like no. I can't stand the noise of the other one. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
like that's my sustainability element.
right,
So
I
I
love
get
it.
away from the fuel.
Well, David, look, fantastic to talk to you, and thanks for sharing, what you do at Qantas and a bit about how big the work actually is. David Kelly, thanks.
No worries, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to Reliability Hero. Keep the world running, and we'll catch you next time. This podcast was brought to you by the Mainstream community.